I'm Molly Cooper, and this is a Snapshot episode where we bring you inside scoops from the travel, design and creative spheres. It's the same Curator Spaces content, now in coffee break conversations. Today's Snapshot is going to be an absolute cracker of an episode, and I'm so excited to welcome the wonderful Alexandra Dudley, who's going to be talking me through how to bring a little bit of festive magic to your tablescapes this Christmas. Alexandra, welcome to Creative Spaces. How are you doing today?
That was so great. I'm well. Very looking forward to Christmas.
It's that frantic last couple of weeks before Christmas hits. It's just go, 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 isn't it? But hopefully some rest at the end of the tunnel.
I think it always is that way at the end of the year, to be honest. That's kind of why we love it.
Yeah, well, before we get into all things Christmas, I'd love to hear a bit about you and your background. I know you've had quite a tumultuous life, and I'd love to hear all about it.
So I now mainly write about food. I spend most of my time cooking and writing recipes, which is a great thing to do. But I started originally painting, so I was kind of like painting full time, and then I actually started a snack company when I was about 22, and I sort of saw this like gap in the market to start a healthy snack company, and started on my kitchen table, which I think is where most people start. And then eventually I moved into a kind of industrial kitchen. I had to give up my studio to do that. I always worked in food kind of on the side. I worked in a restaurant. I also worked in a shoe shop, which was not great. I worked in restaurants in the evening, and then I had been kind of catering on and off since I was quite young. The first thing I ever did was set up like a cake company when I was like 15. So it was always kind of in my blood, and obviously I'd started the snack company, which did well until it didn't. And there's a long story there, but that's not what we're here to talk about. So essentially I sort of closed the business down, and then I thought I would become a full-time food stylist. And I did do some food styling, and I still do bits and bobs, but really it was the recipe writing that kind of, I guess that was just the door that I went through, and that's kind of what I've been doing since then. And I mean, it was a lot of hustling to get kind of the first recipe column and stuff, but yeah, I love it. So that's mainly what I do now. And supper clubs and cooking. I still do a bit of private cooking. I've started doing supper clubs again, but mainly it's kind of the writing and the development.
Yeah, that's so fun. I love a hustle. Love that. I feel like food must be quite a large part of your Christmas then. I'd love to hear a bit about what Christmas at the Dudley household looks like.
So it's changed a bit over the years. My parents split up ages ago, and they didn't get on for a really long time. And then over lockdown, they became friends. So now my dad is also with us at Christmas. So basically my whole family is there, which is really nice. It's my mum and me mainly cooking. And one of the things I feel like lots of people do not have at Christmas, but is essential for me at Christmas, is red cabbage, maybe rogue. But like raised red cabbage, why does not everyone eat that?
I actually had a venison pie the other day, and it came with braised red cabbage, and it was almost better than the pie. Yeah.
So good. So there's always red cabbage, which we always try and make ahead, but it's quite a hefty thing to make. So it's like en masse, giant pots of it, and then we're shoving it in the freezer. We normally go for a long walk. We do Christmas lunch. I know people do Christmas dinner, but lunch is about 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Sort of do presents stuff after that, and then everyone sort of slumps onto the sofa and maybe has like satsumas and Christmas cake for dinner and maybe more wine. But it's really lovely. It's relatively relaxed. There's only kind of 8 of us there, so it's not a massive Christmas. But it's really lovely.
The family get together. Oh, I love it. And then let's talk about the tablescapes there. And I guess you sit down for your lunch at 3, and you said a bit of red cabbage. What other sort of things are we eating? And like, how do you like to set up your tables? Do you have themes? Do they change each year? Or where do you get your inspo from?
So I always think smell is really important as on the table. Kind of like smell and also sensation. That's maybe a better word. So especially at Christmas time, I really like to think of the table as something that you can almost kind of unwrap.
Yeah.
I think about layers, things like, tying your napkin in a knot, or putting, people love ribbons at the moment, putting ribbons around a napkin. That in a way kind of like evokes that sense of opening a present or unwrapping something, which is really exciting. I also think it's quite fun to have little treats on the table, which they could be kind of clementines. Sometimes it's quite nice to stuff them with with cloves. You've got like it's really kind of evocative smell. Some chocolates, like my mum loves putting little bowls of things like that there. And I think things that keep people at the table for longer. So the best lunches or dinners or whatever are the ones that kind of roll on forever and ever. Not obviously not forever, but for a long time. And if you've got like dates or you've got some little bowls of chocolates or nuts, there's something really nice about people kind of dissembling the table at the end, and it's there being kept there. So I always try and think about that sense of unwrapping. Another thing is height. I mean, this sort of plays into the same thing, but using maybe a cake stand in a different way. So maybe you would put something like a savory pie on a cake stand, or you put like, satsumas on the clementines, whatever, on the cake stand. Candles, different heights of candles, I think is also really lovely. I often do a kind of runner centerpiece thing with lots of foliage, snippets from the back of the Christmas tree, and I love using herbs, so things like rosemary and bay. But this year I actually went for something. I did a kind of Christmas lunch in my flat in London, and I went very basic and went for kind of like whites, like dried wheat, and really focused on kind of just candles and stuff for that. It's very Christmassy, isn't it? Candlelight. Always candlelight. Focus on the candles rather than harsh natural lighting, I think.
There's something about humans and sitting around fire, whether that's like an open fireplace or just like loads of candles. I don't know what it is. It's just like that human instinct is like, yes, fire.
Yeah. It's also very magical, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also we all look better with candlelight.
Soft focus, yeah.
Definitely. Give me that golden glow, thanks.
Exactly. I actually love what you said about this idea of unwrapping it. And it really spoke to me. My favourite thing is when you have a dinner party and then like you almost wake up the next morning and it's just like the chaos that you've left behind the night. And I love that.
That's sort of like, it reminds me of being a kid, when your parents would have dinner parties and come down and there'd be all the kind of like fag ends in the coffee cup and Bendix, bitter mints, like chocolate wrappers and stuff, just fascinating. Or Quality Street, like over that you kind of be like putting it in your mouth and spitting out coconut or whatever,
I so remember that.
It's exactly that, I think.
Yeah, I used to come down and like sneak whatever was left over from dessert for breakfast, and my mum used to make this like chocolate prune ice cream, and and it's just like standout childhood memory was the chocolate prune ice cream.
I love that. I also really like cold Christmas pudding. I think I've had Christmas pudding as part of my breakfast for many years now.
I rate that. I quite like cold, stodgy food, so I'll give you a free pass.
Yeah, it's kind of exactly what you need the next day. Christmas pudding ice cream would be good.
Oh, if anyone's listening with Christmas pudding ice cream, please get in touch. Yeah. Okay, so if someone's listening in and they're like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling tablescapes this year. Maybe I don't normally do much, just your classic candelabra in the middle. Where would you suggest they get started? Are there any good like spots or resources, or where do you sort of source your bits and bobs and candles from?
I mean, there's a lot on Instagram, I think, in terms of inspiration, how you want to do things. I think for candles, it's really boring. I always just get them from Price's Candles because they don't dribble everywhere. Because there's nothing worse than, like scraping wax off
worst, yeah.
You do forget them, and you don't want to be that annoying person that's like, blow out, watch the candle.
Yeah.
So, good candles that don't drip too much. Like I think that's what they say. No drip candles.
Sure. Yeah.
And a slow burn, quite nice. I think about kind of natural elements of what you're eating or what is already part of the day. So again, chestnuts are quite nice, cranberries, things that are kind of already on the menu. They make really nice table decorations, and they're things that then you can repurpose. So if you have a bowl of cranberries, you're not going to eat a raw cranberry, but then you could probably make cranberry sauce with it or make some other cranberry pudding. Chestnuts you can have like a couple of days later, just put them in the oven. Walnuts and nuts and stuff like that. Things that kind of serve another purpose, I think, is an easy way to start before, rather than investing in, I don't know, because it's quite fun to also use, I have one of those faux foliage runner things that I've got one behind me actually on my sideboard, and I normally add a few natural bits in there too, but it just fluffs it up.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to invest in something like that, or you don't have the place to store it, you can use a lot with what you kind of already have, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. It's almost like when you have your pre-Christmas party drinks thing, you can use your cranberries that you're going to use on Christmas Day, and then Christmas Day comes around and you can get the things that you're going to have your chestnuts for Boxing Day, and you could kind of rotate the table. Yeah.
And candles are really nice. It's a very basic thing, but it's a really easy way to bring like magic to a table. And a really beautiful Christmas table is one that's just got, if you can get kind of, I think I must have 8 or 9 behind me, but just different heights of like glass candles.
Yeah, they're gorge. Oh, I love them. Oh, I see your nuts. I see your nuts and bowls. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of bowls behind me as well. Also, some red ribbon tied around your candlestick. Maybe not the actual candle because it will melt onto it, but that's also quite a really easy way to add some festive.
Love that. It does feel like bows are having a bit of a moment this year.
I mean, I love a bow. Yeah, I love a bow. I love a flower.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. I love those big red Christmas flowers. I don't even know what they're called.
Oh yeah, Is it begin with an R? I know exactly what you mean. They're quite fun to put down the centre of a table, and they last for months.
That's a great shout. Okay, and then more generally, Christmas. What are like main decorations that you think people should invest in and treasure over the years?
I mean, I quite like collecting different decorations every year. I've got a base of kind of white glass ones, and then I love popping, I don't know, Liberty, or often when I'm traveling, I'll find some rogue bauble and put that in. It's a bit like creating a home. You build a home. And building something takes time. It's not something that can be done instantly. And it also adds to the magic, doesn't it, and the story of it. Lights, though, always invest in lights. I think every year I'm like, oh, we don't have enough lights. We don't have enough Christmas lights. So make sure you have Christmas lights. And baubles are quite fun as kind of place settings as well. We often think about putting them on the tree, but they're quite nice on the table. Or if you don't have a tree, you could make like your own garland. Just get some really nice ribbon, or even tie different ribbons. You're always left, if you collect ribbons like me, there's always lots of odds and ends of different ribbons. And you can sort of tie them together and then hang your Christmas baubles on it and hang that somewhere. And then it's a kind of like little garland thing, which is quite nice as well.
So cute. I actually saw some of my friends last night and everyone was like, I haven't got a tree this year. It's in a London flat. You're just like, yeah.
Do that instead of a tree. I also think, lots of people are doing plastic trees because, it's better for the environment. I just couldn't store a plastic tree. And I love having the real tree, but then I guess it's not that great for the planet, is it?
I know. It's that smell, though. Maybe you just need a few twigs, a few little sprigs of trees scattered.
Yeah, or a small tree, but then you may as well get a big tree.
Oh, and that is the smell. It's so nice.
Yeah, it's so lovely.
Okay, well then looking ahead, New Year's Eve. What's your kind of New Year's Eve vibe? Do you like going out? You a dinner party kind of person?
I am actually so boring at New Year's Eve. I used to do New Year's Eve and like dinners with my friends, and now I tend to kind of like be in my pajamas and be in bed before New Year's Eve. It's really sad. It's not, which is funny because I love entertaining, but I think there's so much of it at Christmas, and then it's just before you go back to work. And I use it as kind of like a nice time to just relax. I'm often in Cornwall in like a tiny little, and it's dead in January, but it's great. Long walks, like no one around, just love it.
Love that.
But I do think doing a New Year's Eve dinner party or something is fun. It's also my birthday month and my husband's month, and birthday month is December. So we normally do stuff for that. So by the time New Year's Eve comes, we're like partied out.
Yeah, done. Give me my New Year's Day swim in the sea and an early night.
Or like Cold War, love it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm the same. It's just as soon as you like factor in Christmases, birthdays, it's just like nightmare. And then life just starts so early, like January 3rd. It's just like, what? Done?
I know.
Yeah, I feel you. Okay, well, I love it. Invest in candles and baubles, collect them throughout your life, and get a nice early night on New Year's Eve.
Save your ribbons as well. Save your ribbons.
Save your ribbons. That's actually a great shout.
If you don't have enough baubles, tying ribbons, just ribbons around the tree, really bulks it out.
Yeah, so true. I know the front of my tree is always nice and the back is literally just empty.
Yeah, the back is there. Mine too, but anyone is like that.
I mean, who's looking at the back? Yeah. Oh, well, it's been so lovely chatting all things Christmas with you. Feeling very inspired to go and do my own tablescapes this Christmas. We do have a quick fire round to wrap up with. This week's all Christmas themed, of course. So, number 1, what's your go-to Christmas movie?
I think The Holiday.
Yes.
Yeah, probably. The holiday, I would say that is my go-to Christmas. No, it's not. I'm lying. Love Actually, 100%.
Yeah, it's one of the two, isn't it? Yeah.
It's Love Actually, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then hot Christmases, yay or nay?
Never done one, so I wouldn't know. I guess I wouldn't be adverse to it, but I'd probably insist on doing the kind of cold Christmas one
Mm-hmm.
either before or after, because I
Yeah.
think it would just feel like the year hadn't finished
The
properly.
alien. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Christmas dinner, are you more excited for the sweets or the savouries?
Savouries always. I'm such a savoury girl.
Mm-hmm. And what's your go-to main? Turkey, duck?
My mum does goose, but I think I prefer turkey, but she loves a goose.
Yeah, I quite like a goose, actually. I'm with your mum on that.
Real faff to cook though, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of fat that drains from it. It's a big expedition.
It is. It's a foray into cooking, isn't it? And then what's your go-to Christmas canapé?
Oh god, that is hard. Probably a kind of bruschetta with like whipped ricotta or burrata with either crispy sage
Yeah.
or like anchovies and crispy sage. Or at the moment, I love doing roasted butternut squash and cranberries and crispy sage.
Basically crispy sage plus something.
Yeah, basically crispy sage. Also hazelnut. You brown it in the butter and just spoon that over.
Love that. And are there any sort of weird combos that you quite like? Cold Christmas pudding for breakfast aside.
Cold Christmas pudding is definitely one. I mean, I would have cold red cabbage too.
Yeah.
I've even had red cabbage with scrambled eggs quite a lot. I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, festive. I like that. Purple's having a moment. Why not in your eggs?
Exactly.
I love it. And then looking ahead to 2024, are you doing any New Year's resolutions this year?
I actually love New Year's resolutions, but I tend to not have like really stressful ones. And they're all like, try and do this. They're not like, read every day or do a headstand and stuff like that. So I haven't really thought about them yet, but they tend to be kind of like long-term goals, and I probably have like one or two.
I love that.
So yeah, but I'm kind of a fan. I'm a January fan.
Are you? I'm getting serious January vibes from this chat. Yeah.
I'm like an early bird, love a Monday. Yeah.
Oh, it's sickening. No. I love it. I love it. I'm pumped for January, pumped for Christmas. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting tablescapes with me.
Thank you.
Very Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me.
Wow, what a lovely chat with the wonderful Alexandra Dudley. And that was actually the last Curated Spaces episodes before Christmas. If you enjoyed listening, as ever, please do hit that follow button or leave a little review. It really means a lot and helps keep the podcast going. I'll be back on the 27th with a few more episodes before kicking off our first ever mini-season, the London edition, in January. Now, have a very Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time for more Curated Spaces.